We are just over a month away from the reveal of World of Warcraft's newest expansion, Midnight. And Blizzard just dropped some bombs about this expansion, and we need to talk about it. Hello everyone, I am Jmulls. And if I were to sum up what we know about World of Warcraft Midnight in one word, it would be easy. Cool. It looks cool again. Let's get into it. Blizzard announced that World of Warcraft Midnight, the next expansion, is going to be revealed on August 19th at Gamescom. The first of many potential parallels between this expansion and Legion, which was also announced at Gamescom. At the show, we are going to see the following: a Midnight cinematic debut, gameplay reveal of the expansion featuring the World of Warcraft devs, Create a Clash Live, and also, they'll be showing off housing. Very standard stuff for a World of Warcraft expansion reveal. However, you may see on the screen here, we have new artwork, and this artwork, there's a lot more that goes on here than meets the eye. I found a higher quality version of the key art itself on Wowhead, and it looks like this. A bunch of giant Void Lord-esque creatures. Remember, in the next patch, 11.2, we will be going to the ethereal homeworld of Koresh to take on the Void Lord Dimensius. However, well, judging from this, something's going to go wrong, and well, like how Legion was a green invasion of Azeroth, now we have black and purple, and a bunch of these giant Void Lord-looking beings, alongside like shadowy comets descending from this maelstrom of void energy. There is a lot going on here, but there's a couple of extra details we need to focus in on. Look right over here, right behind this main Void Lord's head, a familiar shape, very similar to the main tower in Silvermoon that can be shown right here for comparison. Some people have joked that it looks like the jailer with his helmet on, which would be hilarious, but let's be fair here, it's the Silvermoon Tower. We know this expansion takes place largely in Quel'Thalas because that's what Chris Metzen said when he revealed the World Soul Saga. We know this expansion will deal a lot with the Elvish tribes, the High Elves, the Void Elves, the Blood Elves, and bringing them back together again, or something in that vein. And if you look at the bottom right of this picture for the reveal of Midnight, you can see these Elvish walls with the goldish trim being slightly obscured by the shadowy void that is all around this image. I think it's clear that the setting they want for this expansion is Quel'Thalas and possibly all of Azeroth being invaded by the void. And I love this entire premise. I'm so happy this is the direction that they're going in, for a number of reasons. One of the biggest problems World of Warcraft has had for the longest time has been this issue of making the world feel smaller with each expansion, where we largely ignore the world that had been developed and fleshed out for many years to focus in on this entire new landmass, which feels way smaller than the rest of the world combined. But starting with this expansion, unless there's a massive twist, we're not being introduced to an entire new continent or an entire new world. We're going back to basics. We're going back to Quel'Thalas, one of the most well-known and well-beloved but also aged locations in all of World of Warcraft. Revamping it, potentially making it even bigger and better than it was before, and focusing in on a story that is being told in the world that we already know and love, not trying to also introduce this entire new location. I think this has so much potential for the pacing, for the immersion, just for the amount that people will care about the story that is told, so long as the storytelling itself is up to par. And I think one of the main things they showed throughout most of the War Within was a desire to tell better stories and higher quality stories within World of Warcraft. They didn't always hit the mark, we'll get to that, but I think on the whole, 11.0 and 11.1 and things like lore walking were really dang good and fun to experience. And if they're able to even take it up a notch to tell even better stories with, say, 11.2, and then when we get to 12.0 Midnight, and they nail this story in particular, this has so much potential. Because for the longest time, one of the biggest issues World of Warcraft has kind of faced was just the aesthetic of modern World of Warcraft. WoW was always cartoony to a degree, right? But it had really cool elements as well. And one of the greatest parts of World of Warcraft and Warcraft overall was how it was able to blend all these different aesthetics together. But most of the time you had this thread weaving through all of them, that they were just simply badass and cool, and had their own unique ways to feel awesome. And I think with a lot of modern WoW, it has felt softer. The teeth have been filed down, claws trimmed off, and while they were focusing in on improving the overall gameplay loop, the content that was being output for World of Warcraft, again, they're not all the way there yet, but the game has seen drastic improvements in many key areas throughout the last few years. But the tone and the feel of World of Warcraft was one of those stragglers. And I think it's something like this that can go a long way. These guys look cool. Make them menacing. Let World of Warcraft have that edge factor again. I think one of the best improvements to the game overall, in terms of the atmosphere, happened with The War Within, where they did kind of go back to basics. They focused on dwarves, they focused on new stuff as well, but that felt like it belonged in World of Warcraft with the Arathi. They focused on the Nerubians. Those elements were really cool. But the game still needed that cool factor, that blood-pumping, adrenaline-filled adventure that Warcraft used to be able to consistently put out, but now feels so few and far between. If they are able to stick the landing and have World of Warcraft feel cool again, have it be a story about heroes, have it be a story about really cool, badass moments that can happen, beating the odds, really cool fight scenes, really cool one-liners, be cheesy, have fun with it. If they're able to mix those elements in with the modern storytelling we mostly see out of World of Warcraft these days, I think this can truly go a long way to further upping the investment so many people have with World of Warcraft and possibly recouping a lot of the losses World of Warcraft has sustained over the years, as it's, to be blunt, felt more like a cartoon in a bad way. Too much safe storytelling, without much risk, without much adrenaline, without much adventure. It's not like it was devoid of this the entire time. It's just, on the whole, it has felt lesser than where it used to be. And they've been starting to crawl that back. This is why I think they need to make massive strides in that direction. This image gives me a little bit of hope because, well, they're not trying to make these guys look super soft and cuddly. Remember the redesign to a lot of the dragons with Dragonflight and how it just didn't feel like Warcraft dragons? Remember when that happened? These guys look pretty dang cool, and I'm willing to hear them out on this. I love Elvish lore in World of Warcraft. Quel'Thalas and Silvermoon has always been one of my favorite locations in all of World of Warcraft, just that general area. Going back to it, revisiting with modern zone scale and design and flying, this has a ton of potential. But there's one issue we need to talk about. Not too long ago, World of Warcraft released a new story called The Legacy of Arathor. In it, we return to the Arathi Highlands and experience the story involving the politics of that region and what's been going on there and what will likely be followed up in Midnight. And I talked about it when I played on the PTR. That quest was terrible, and it quickly became a laughingstock in the community when more and more people were exposed to the cutscenes therein. They were awful. Ever since near the end of Dragonflight, WoW has really upgraded their cutscene game, and quite a few of the cutscenes we got in The War Within and in Undermined were rather high quality for what I normally expect out of World of Warcraft, and they look really good and they added to the story. However, every now and then, they still use those like cheapo cutscenes that feels like they got a value pack off of Temu. They look jarring, they look janky, they just simply look bad, as if someone tried to make a WoW machinima back in the days of Cataclysm, but all their peripherals were upside down. They just don't look good. And when you're trying to lay the groundwork for stories that are clearly going to be expanded on and fleshed out in the next expansion, Midnight, having that be your foundation, in my opinion, was poison. And when those elements and characters are eventually brought back into the story, people are just going to groan and go, oh god, these guys again, really? I don't care about them, because the story they started to tell with them was just uninteresting. Maybe they can fix it with Midnight, but like, that story was recent. But also alongside that, we have to just stop doing those cutscenes that look so bad. They look so out of place, and I would rather the characters just stand around talking with text boxes than have those cutscenes. It's one of the very, very, very few instances where I think telling is better than showing. Because when you show it like that, it's hard to take anything seriously. It's completely immersion breaking in my opinion, and I think the game would be better without them. The other potential pitfall is just them not going far enough with this. Let the Void Lords, let the Void itself feel menacing. Let them be evil. And don't just let us win with the power of friendship or some like giant giga laser beam like we did against N'Zoth back in Battle for Azeroth. Let characters have really cool moments against the Void Lords, against the Void. Don't just let the Elvish story boil down to, wow, we should really all just stick together for family, right? Like we did with like Dragonflight. Don't do that again. That's a story we didn't need to begin with, let alone a third time, if not like a 15th time. Let characters have really cool moments. Let the Void feel menacing. Let them do things where we feel that they are impactful and that they are dangerous. You don't want to just like go through the cast of characters with a hot knife just killing every single individual, right? But to feel like a threat, they need to be meaningful. And they are seemingly setting the stage for this. They're invading Silvermoon. They're invading Quel'Thalas. That is supposed to be an area of the world with a sizable population at least. There's a massive main city there. Take risks. Let WoW be cool again. This is the perfect opportunity to steer the ship in a way better direction. The process has already started with the War Within, but it's not all the way there yet. We can get that final little spurt that is needed to cross that finish line though, and to make WoW truly, truly cool again. This expansion has a ton of potential. I'm glad it's not being revealed until after we've experienced the story of 11.2. Move away from that era of World of Warcraft story where it feels like the real storytelling takes place on Wowhead in data mine cutscenes and the like. With the War Within, I haven't wanted to spoil myself about what happens in the game because I want to experience it in-game. That's already a massive improvement in my opinion. Continue that momentum. Shore up the mistakes that remain and stop trying to overly sanitize things to make them as safe as humanly possible, non-controversial as humanly possible. We still get a few stories every now and then like Legacy of Arathor that feels like that. Those days need to be done because something like this feels cool. This makes me go, I want to know what happens next. I want to play this game. But it's all about the execution. And we'll have to wait and see. But you know what? I'm hopeful. I'm looking forward to it. And here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your opinions on what we've talked about today. What do you want to see for the future of World of Warcraft when it comes to Midnight, when it comes to the Last Titan, when it comes to beyond that? Are you looking forward to housing? Do you like the way they're setting up the tone for Midnight? I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and hear your perspectives. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Follow me on TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter, Jmulls G. I have a Discord in the description down below. And if you want to check out what World of Warcraft housing neighborhoods look like, well, they're looking pretty good, and you should check out this video to find out more. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody, until we meet again!